The Book of Lists identifies our fear of speaking as often outranking our fear of death by a margin as high as 2 to 1. I'm Joel Sweeney. Today I want to talk to you about speaking anxiety in particular. And I'm going to do it through an analogy. I think really it helps us if we better understand what fear really is. Why do we have a fear of speaking? And I'm going to use the analogy of a large beam. I have a large beam. I want you to imagine that I have it on the floor here in front of me. This room's, say, 25 feet across. And I've got that beam stretched out, and it's an 8x8 beam, by the way, sitting on the floor. And I'm offering $10 to every single person that's willing to walk across that beam. Now, I can't see you, but I'm willing to bet that you're nodding your head, I'm going to take his $10. If he's silly enough to give it to me, I'm going to take it. And every single one of you walk across that 8-inch beam without any problem whatsoever. Now, I want you to imagine that I've taken that same beam and I'm going to put it between two buildings 100 feet in the air. Now, I want you to imagine that you're stepping up to one end of that beam, you're looking down at it, and now you're looking down past it to the ground 100 feet below. Now, if you're visualizing that, I'm willing to bet that there's a good chance that you're getting a little tickle in your stomach. I'm going to give you another $10 if you walk across that beam. And if I was to ask for a show of hands, I'm willing to bet that not near as many would take me up on that offer, if any. But every once in a while there's daredevils in my audience, and so there are often, quite frequently, a couple of hands that will go up. But only a few, not near the numbers that would have gone across when it was sitting on the floor. So then I offer to give $10,000. Book sales are good, $10,000 for any individual that will walk across that beam. Usually there's nobody, but if there's might be one. But then I'll say, how many are thinking about walking across that beam? And it's impressive because there'll be a few more hands go up. So even though they're still being held back, they're thinking about walking across that beam. So what has changed? Well, it's becoming worth the risk. It's becoming worth the risk to us. So if we need to understand that if indeed we want to manage and overcome our speaking anxieties, we need to be willing to take those risks. Now, the risks aren't near as grave as walking across a beam 100 feet in the air. It's really getting up in front of a group of people and experiencing what the anxiety manifests in us. It might be flushed face, it might be perspiration, it might be shaky hands, it might be wobbly knees, quivering voice, all of those things. But that's the worst that can happen to you. I've never seen anybody die, I've never seen anybody even faint, and I've been around this for over 25 years. So it is doable once we understand what it is that we're tackling, once we understand the fear behind it. So make sure that you have considered it and that you are willing to take that risk. If it's worth the risk, take the risk. That's your tip for today. Now go out and make your voice heard.